It's July 30th, and on this day in 1997, Stainless Games turned reckless driving into a scoring competition. Listen, there's nothing cool about vehicular manslaughter. People die tragically, their lives snuffed out in an instant. But you sure wouldn't know that from video games. Running people down is a grand tradition that spans very nearly the history of the medium. Heck, Atari had barely helped establish the racing genre with 1974's Grand Track 10 when Exidy created the world's first controversial arcade game, Death Race 2000. It was a game entirely about running down people and transforming them into tombstones. Real socially responsible stuff. It's a tradition of video games that's lived on in everything from Halo, where smashing Covenant warriors in a warthog is a whole lot more satisfying than gunning them down from behind a rock, and even in Grand Theft Auto, where too much roadkill will eventually get the cops and even the army on your case. But murder by hot rod is usually a side effect of games that include driving, not the point. In 1997 though, a game by the name of Carmageddon came along and made vehicular manslaughter its whole purpose. Perhaps not surprisingly, Carmageddon had a troubled development history. Stainless Software kept attaching it to a number of different licenses, including Mad Max and, yes, Death Race 2000. But all of these acquisitions eventually fell through, possibly because property owners were a little gun-shy about connecting themselves with a game that emphasized smashing into both cars and pedestrians alike in the wake of the media panic over video game violence that had dominated headlines just a few years prior. On its surface, Carmageddon was simply an ill-mannered racing game. The manslaughter element came into play as a game mechanic. Players could rack up additional race time by turning pedestrians into a red smear on the asphalt. It felt a bit like a throwback to that old driving game you used to play as a kid. 10 points for the old lady, 15 for the fat guy, with a touch of Rampage's mechanic, which allowed you to chomp innocent bystanders for a health boost. The difference, of course, was that unlike that imaginary driving game you played as a kid, Carmageddon actually let you run down people, virtual as they may have been. And unlike in Rampage, the people were rendered in realistic 3D versus consisting of a few tiny cartoon pixels. Of course, in hindsight it all seems so quaint, but that's pretty much par for the course when it comes to all the bad attitude games of the 90s. For US Gamer, I'm Jeremy Parrish. Subscribe to our channel and join us again tomorrow for a Drill 'em Up Classic.